He's Derek.
Push it.
Push it?
Yeah, push it real good.
She's Romaine.
I know how to manipulate women to trust me and think I'm wonderful, even though I'd want to shoot myself in the face 99% of the time.
This is Derek and Romaine.
2.0, bitches! Hi, Derek.
Well, hello, Romaine. So nice to be back with you.
I feel like it was just a moment ago I was talking to you.
I know. Well, we are live every weekday for 2 solid hours, but does that stop us from yakking away even more? No, it does not.
You're right. It sure doesn't. I love creating extra bonus content for our listeners.
That's right. And encouraging people, of course, to subscribe to our live daily show so they can call in and be part of the shenanigans and not miss a moment, not even a split second.
Oh,
of the
man,
fun.
so much good stuff happens in the Daily Show. It's crazy.
That's right. So you can go to dnrstudios.com. If you're not already an existing Derek and Romaine subscriber to our live daily show, go to dnrstudios.com and you can subscribe there. But today's episode is not about Derek and Romaine.
What?
Mostly. We want to talk about summer movies. I don't know about everybody else's weather, but here on the East Coast, our spring has sprung very slowly.
Yeah.
I mean, we had, a couple of days where it's like, oh, it's hot. I guess we're getting early summer. And then it went to bleh.
And cold and wet. Blech.
Yeah.
Blech.
It has not been great.
No, this is not a good indication for our summer. I mean, the one nice thing about it is that everything is turning green relatively quickly, but it's chilly. It's chilly out.
I'm also turning green, but I think I'm covered in mold.
Oh,
that's
you might
not-
want to see your doctor about that.
Oh, I know, really. Oh, ask your doctor if getting covered in blue cheese mold is right for you. Yeah, I do like how green everything is. That is nice.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to be outside, but I can't. And now we have this Writers Guild strike that could be going on for who knows how long. So soon we will be running out of fresh TV. And I think if the weather continues to be meh and there's nothing on TV, I think people are going to rush back to the theaters this summer. For any number of movie-going fun.
Well, I mean, the one nice thing about this, Derek, is there actually is a fairly decent slate of movies that will be coming out this summer. And, a lot of the kind of movies that the masses in particular enjoy. So I'm talking like big action movies and superhero movies, things like that. So in that respect, I am eager for this summer's movie-going season.
Well, I love a big, action-packed, blockbustery kind of movie. And when Mike and Brian were here, we were going through, classic movies, in chronological order. And so I actually recently, one of the few things, because we've been in the 70s, and the late 60s, early 70s was an interesting time of transition in the movie business.
Yeah.
The traditional studio system was collapsing. There were a younger generation of people, the baby boomers, and so they were trying to appeal to them while not alienating older moviegoers. And so filmmaking was kind of a hot mess during this time period.
Sure.
But one thing that ended up being a big hit in the starting in the early 1970s were these star-studded disaster pictures that Irwin Allen was best known for doing. But the real sort of kickoff for it was this movie Airport, which was nominated and won a bunch of Oscars in 1970. And it was a big star-studded movie about life at a Midwestern airport when they're all snowed in and an airline passenger is a problem.
Oh,
and
no.
But also had sort of soapy elements to it,
Yeah.
romance and what have you. And a mix of old stars and drama and special effects. And it kind of had everything that people wanted. Well, That's not the movie that I recently watched. So I recently watched one of the biggest movies of this time period, which I'm sure you haven't seen, Romaine, but maybe you
Okay.
have. The Towering Inferno.
Oh no, I have seen The Towering Inferno, and it's a most excellente movie. That's funny. I can't remember why I watched it, but many years ago I did watch it. And basically it's about this giant high rise that is on fire, and there's a big party happening above the fire. Is that correct? Am I remembering this correct? Yeah.
Yes.
And they know the fire's coming. They can see the fire, but they're all like, we're good. They're not good.
Yeah, so in The Towering Inferno, basically they took two different books as the source material, but the movie is about the world's tallest building opening in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And they're having a big star-studded launch party in the sort of sky view
way up at the
penthouse
tippity top.
restaurant
Yep.
lounge up at the very top of the building. And yes, a fire breaks out in a storage room because cheap wiring was used in the building to save money, and then they can't get the fire under control. And yes, the people at the very top of the building are trapped in the building. And I have many thoughts about this movie. One is the fire effects and everything are genuinely exciting. And spoiler alert in the end, that basically in order to save the lives of the people who are in the top floor of the building, they detonate water tanks that are on top of the building and flood the party room where everyone is. And it's all practical effects. And they had real movie stars sitting in these, like, strapped to things while they're blowing shit up and water is flying all over the place. And you see them. It's their genuine reaction. And it's very exciting. That part of it was fun. But what I could not believe in watching the movie was how dumb everyone was about a fire.
Oh, yeah. But this is true. People are dumb about fires.
But like all the things that we learned of, feel the door if it's hot, if there's smoke, crawl on the floor so that you're where the good air is, don't hide in a closet. You got to get out, and also the building, apparently they built the world's tallest high rise without sprinklers on any of the floors.
Yep.
And it's just like, wait, what? And so it's a horrifying movie when you watch it from this sense of fire safety, of, wow, we sure have come a long way.
I mean, Derek, let's be real honest about this. We have had many offices in New York City over the years. And I will just say the ones that we rented when we started DNR Studios, I don't know, I know because I paid more attention to it because of I was always in charge of like the insurance and stuff and everything. But the sprinkler systems in every building we were in were horrifying, in that there were literally sprinkler systems that had drop ceilings that basically made them not useful. Like they would cover the sprinklers in sections of the building, or they had been painted over so many times that there is no fucking way water came out of them. Like, to say that there were technically there were sprinkler systems in the buildings. I would almost guarantee none of them worked.
Well, that is terrifying.
Yes.
But at least they had them. At least there was some water somewhere.
I guess.
But I just, and our office was never on the 130th floor.
No, it was not. But we also never had an office where the elevators were great, or there were problems.
Like, in this movie, somebody had because they're opening the building,
right?
So the building is sort of semi populated. Some people had already moved in. It's very unclear about how far along in the opening of the building they are when they do this party, because there are some people living in the building apparently already.
Right. Yeah.
But most of the building is empty. I don't know. Anyway, but like somebody had a wheelbarrow of wet cement. This is my favorite bit in it.
Yep.
So they're trying to get to the very top of the building, and they get up the stairs, and they get to the top of the stairs, and somebody had a wheelbarrow full of cement, and it tipped over, and it poured the cement in front of the door, and then whoever it was just left it there so that it would harden, blocking the door, and then no one ever said anything or did anything. And I just think, when it first tipped over, you could have
Scooped it right up.
scooped it a little out of the way or something.
Yeah.
There's something you called somebody quick before it hardens. Pour some water on it to keep it from hardening until somebody can come and sweep it up. Like something.
Right.
But no, they just sort of dumped it there. And okay. So there was a lot in the movie where I just think this doesn't make any sense at all.
I agree.
But it's good camp fun. And the special effects are pretty wow because it's almost all practical effects, and it looks very dangerous. I mean, that's the thing. You have people running through rooms on fire. It all looks very, very dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Sure does.
But that is sort of, what people, when they go to the movies, when they want to see something on the big screen, this is the kind of big spectacle that they want.
Yes.
And I think after last year, after the big success of Top Gun Maverick, people really, this is what is going to get people back into theaters. This kind of over-the-top, big, star-studded spectacle filmmaking.
Right.
Is going to be hot stuff.
I agree with that. I do.
Yeah.
And actually, so when I was making my summer movies I care about list, that's literally what I called it. Summer movies I care about. I will say the vast majority of these are big spectacle movies because that is what I enjoy in a summer movie.
I think it's hard for smaller filmmakers, because there used to be a space at the local multiplex for a mid-range romantic comedy or a lower budget independent movie, and there still is some space for that, obviously,
Right.
Where a small independent movie can get a lot of buzz and be a breakout hit. But the quality of what you can see on your TV at home, with the large screen TVs, people routinely now have 60, 70-inch TVs at home, and beautiful high def, full color. And so compared to the movie theater experience, if you're seeing a smaller movie where the sort of detail is less important, the way that watching the tidal wave in San Andreas, you're going to want to see that on a huge screen. I mean, if you want to see it at all. But the TV experience is just fine for an intimate, grown-up drama.
Sure.
About feelings. You don't need people's feelings to be 100 feet tall.
No, you do not. No, you do not.
I mean, if you can get that at home without turning on your TV. So I do, I wonder about how some of this sort of mid-range fare will do at the box office. And the movie theater chains are so desperate to get people to come back. Having a lot of big blockbusters is going to be really helpful in getting people into seats. But ultimately, you need to appeal to a broad range of moviegoers. Circling back to the problem the studios had in the 60s and 70s, it was hard to find multi-generational hits, movies that older and younger people wanted to go and see. And this is why they started getting into this star-studded spectacle space, because it was something that you could get. Young people were interested in the special effects and whatever else, and older people were interested in seeing their favorite stars tormented by a burning building or a crashing plane or a sinking ship or whatever.
The best stuff.
Well, that's the fun. The fun part of it is the whiz bang of the effects, and some of them honestly still hold up.
Yeah.
I was impressed in the Towering Inferno because they had to sort of make a fake building in the middle of San Francisco. So they had to, before they had digital effects, they had to sort of insert a building into the city, and they did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I'm impressed by what what effects held up, but also they had silly things like, oh, there's a glass elevator that goes to the 130th floor. Like, oh God,
Girl.
nobody wants to be in a glass
That
elevator.
sounds
100 stories up.
terrifying. Terrifying.
Terrifying,
I mean, I'm scared just thinking about it.
right?
Yes. I don't want to get in that elevator
Yeah,
ever.
no, thank you. I mean, I don't know what was more terrifying, that or the orange shag carpet. It was all pretty rough.
Fair and valid.
Well, it's not coming out this summer, but Sylvester Stallone is apparently working on another reboot of one of his popular past projects.
Which one?
Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. No, I'm just kidding. Cliffhanger.
How interesting. Okay.
Yeah, apparently they're doing a reboot of Cliffhanger.
All right.
Which was a Stallone action movie
Mhm.
from, I want to say 1993.
Something like that, yeah.
And I remember seeing it in theaters when it came out. I was just a wee tot then. You know, I'm only 29, so I was just a
Yeah,
baby
yeah,
in a
yeah.
bassinet.
Yeah, you literally were a
But-
baby.
Yeah, just a total baby. Literally, I remember it in vitro. I was like Nicolas Cage. I remembered seeing the movie in the womb. And the one thing that I remember about it was one of the first movies that really effectively utilized surround sound in the theater.
Right.
Because they had a helicopter at the beginning when the movie opens. There's a helicopter like flying. And they had the helicopter sound sort of move out from one side of the theater to the other side. And that was actually the most exciting thing in the movie, frankly. I mean, it was, there was lots of sort of action. We're grappling on the side of a mountain. Can't remember exactly what it was. He was like a mountain rescue person or something. And then there's bad guys who are trying to get a bag of money from maybe a plane crash or something. And
Right.
they hold his wife or teenage daughter hostage until he can get up the mountain and get something like that. Something. So obviously there's a myriad plots here. If they could make 10 Fast and Furious movies, I am sure they can find another reason to get Sylvester Stallone up the side of that mountain.
I would imagine so, yeah.
But are you excited about seeing Stallone in Cliffhanger 2?
No, because he's old. I mean, listen, I have enjoyed old Stallone in the Creed movies because I think they have done a good job aging him and allowing him to be his current age and not trying to make him some young, spry, muscular guy that he no longer is. So I think I want to say to Sylvester Stallone, age with grace. Age with grace. Don't try to be something you're not, because that's just sad.
I feel very attacked by this line of questioning.
No, I'm not attacking you. Not
How dare you.
attacking
How
you.
dare you.
I'm just saying, age with grace. So, because I hate these people who want to pretend they're something they no longer are. And it's not that. I mean, it's like just age with grace. Age with grace. That's all. That's all. Age with grace.
I agree with you that transitioning the Rocky character from a boxer into a trainer
Right.
is, and then he can take on the Burgess Meredith role in the original movie.
Yeah.
And that is a smart transition for that character.
Yes.
I agree. It is a good way to sort of keep that going and keep that alive. And who knows what kind of mentor role he'll have in this Cliffhanger movie. But something tells me he's still going to have to grapple up the side of a mountain. I know.
But
But
also, he's too old. That old man can't grapple up a mountain. Like, let's just be honest for a second. He can't. He's not capable of grappling up a mountain.
he can grapple out of a walkout bathtub.
I mean, I suppose. I don't know. It just seems silly to me.
They're gonna try to get Arnold Schwarzenegger to play the Terminator again, a 79-year-old Terminator. Sigourney Weaver, actually, she got asked again if she was going to be playing Ellen Ripley again in another Alien movie. And she said
No.
recently, that ship has sailed.
Yeah, because she's old. An old woman can't battle. Like, oh, God. What is wrong with people, Derek?
Well, first of all, an old person can battle somebody.
Yeah, but they're gonna lose because they're old and
No, you
weak.
saw Red. Wasn't it delightful when Helen Mirren punched that guy in the neck with her purse?
Yeah, it was, but I liked it better when she was with the flamethrower. But whatever.
Sure. Okay.
I'm just, it's sad, but it's also a little sad. Like, it's cool, but it's also a little sad. Because, I mean, let's be honest.
Well, I mean, nobody is who they used to be. But
Not
there's
even
so-
I am who I used to be.
Yeah, but Hollywood, as we will see in a moment in our summer preview, Hollywood is very invested in luring you back with a touch of nostalgia, even as they're putting a fresh twist on things coming up. But, no one is safe from this because even the producer of Mamma Mia has an idea for a third Mamma Mia movie
No.
and a way to have Meryl Streep in it again.
No.
And she's pretty convinced that Meryl loves playing Dorinda, her character from Mamma Mia. And I don't know, maybe they found 40 new ABBA songs
I mean,
that they can put in there.
doesn't it just make you want to put your head down at a certain point?
Well, okay. So I saw Mamma Mia on Broadway, and people were enchanted by that show. And I thought it was, whatever, it's fine. It was not a bad show. I didn't understand why it was the psychotic hit that it was. But frequently, the shows that become huge mass market hits on Broadway are not always like the greatest show.
Right.
But they're tapping into the psyche of theater goers in a way that makes them happy. It hits some pleasure point in their brain, and they're excited by it. And maybe with ABBA, it was just the right nostalgia at the right time. I'm not really sure what it was, but it was a fun show, and the songs are great, and the staging of it was really charming. I mean, there was a lot about it. It was not a bad show. And then the movie was perfectly fine. Meryl got to hang out with her friend Christine Baranski on a Greek island and splash around. I'm sure they all had a blast.
Yeah.
Meryl didn't have to worry about getting her hair done much, and she could just be in, sweatpants and overalls and splash around barefoot. I'm sure she had a blast.
I'm sure.
You look like you were all having a good time up there, as the saying goes. And so, I mean, it was fine. I just don't think they need 3 of them.
They certainly don't. They didn't need to, frankly. But what do I know?
I know. All right. Well, there's no point in worrying about whether Cliffhanger 9 will be a big hit or not when it's so far off in the future. When we have summer movies aplenty that are rolling into theaters as we speak. And we're going to be breaking down some of the ones that we're the most looking forward to.
The summer movies I care about.
Yeah. Coming up next, you're on Derek and Romaine.
Stay tuned for more Derek and Romaine.
Today's episode is presented by our friends at Blue Chew. Visit BlueChew.com and be sure to enter our promo code DNR to get your first month free. You'll just pay $5 for shipping to get started.
Blue Chew is a unique online service that delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, but it's in a chewable form and it's a fraction of the cost.
That's right, and it couldn't be easier or more convenient. With BlueChew.com, you sign up online. Remember, you use our promo code DNR, of course.
Yeah.
And when you sign up online, they will connect you with a licensed medical professional. You'll let them know all about your life, what your needs and goals are in the bedroom. And once approved, they will ship Blue Chew right to your door. It's chewable and convenient.
I mean, let's be honest, Eric. This is a product that is literally made for our audience. Our listeners know that sex should be fun and enjoyable for both you and your partner. And now you can make sure that happens with Blue Chew. It's going to give you that extra little boost of confidence. It's going to make you feel extra sexy. And by the way, you're going to perform a little bit better than normal. So what do you got to lose? Head on over to BlueChew.com right now. Use that promo code DNR, and you're just going to pay $5 just for the shipping, and you're going to get your first month free. What do you have to lose? This sounds like a winner to me.
And they have a new chewable, mint flavored.
Ooh, minty fresh. Ooh, I like that. Who does
That's
that?
right.
Now you get not only can you perform better, but you're going to be feeling minty fresh. I mean, literally, it's like these people are geniuses.
So visit BlueChew.com. That's BlueChew.com. Use our promo code DNR at checkout. They'll give you your first month free, and all you have to pay is $5 for shipping. And you'll get Blue Chew shipped right to your door conveniently and discreetly.
It's amazing.
DNR 2.0.
So here, we're ready for our summer movie preview. So we're already in May. And as you know, the summer movie season kicks off even earlier because the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is already in theaters.
Yeah.
And a monster hit. But not a surprise.
Of course it is, because it's Guardians of the Galaxy. I have not seen it yet, but it is on my, in the very near future, go see with Iris movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is obviously one of the hotly anticipated movies in the MCU, which is really, Marvel has really been keeping the box office afloat.
Yeah.
Certainly for the last year. And for everything that was not Top Gun with Tom Cruise. But a whole new slate, and I use the word new loosely, movies is going to be coming to theaters, and the traditional summer movie season kicks off Memorial Day weekend.
Yes.
And the big movie that weekend is Disney's live-action remake of The Little Mermaid.
Which has not been without lots of controversy, because this is a movie where Disney has shaken things up quite a bit with their casting and some of the choices they've made. Melissa McCarthy is playing Ursula, which I think is a really strange choice, but I'm willing to give it a chance. And then, of course, there's a whole lot of racism that has been thrown at this movie, because Ariel is played by a woman of color and not a white woman with red hair. So people are all kinds of mad about that, because evidently mermaids can only be white. This movie will be interesting to see how audiences show up. Will they show up, all these Karens of the world, or will they stay home with their kids and say, this is not my Ariel?
So I have to say, I want to support this movie because I don't like the backlash.
Agreed.
To me, it's really, the backlash is really problematic.
And gross.
Mermaids are made up. They are not real. So therefore, the idea that they have to have a particular ethnicity just feels real
Gross.
racist to me.
Yep.
And so I don't like that part of it. But I also, the more recent, sort of final longer trailer came out, because they had some teaser trailers. I was underwhelmed by the trailer, but I also am not somebody who has been particularly wowed or actually watched a lot of these Disney live action remakes.
Right.
And part of it is because I have a relationship to the original animated movies, and I don't know that the live action remakes, which really are in kind of a nether space between digital animation and live action, because there's so much that is digitally done, certainly in something like The Little Mermaid, but definitely with like The Lion King, that it's like, well, is this really truly a live action movie, or is this sort of an enhanced animated movie? And this sort of blurry space between live action and animation has been a big part of Disney right from the get-go. Their very first live action movies were also frequently had animation elements to it. I mean, Mary Poppins has a whole thing where they jump into a drawing, and there's a whole animated sequence in the middle of Mary Poppins. And many of the Disney live action movies followed a similar formula and format. Song of the South also quite famously had animated sequences along with live action sequences. So this is all part of Disney's DNA. So if anybody can pull this kind of thing off, they can. And I guess there is an appetite here for these live action remakes. Some of them have done better than others. The Lion King remake.
I'm not a huge fan.
Huge business. Right. But, Dumbo did not make any money. So I don't know how well this is going to do, but it's basically is going to have Memorial Day weekend to itself.
Yeah.
And I guess we will see who shows up. I think the biggest problem that Disney has with a movie like this is how successful Disney Plus has been and how expensive it is to go to the movies. And I think that parents with kids who are the target market for The Little Mermaid are going to be making a tough choice here in terms of how important is it to go to the movies to see a movie that I know will be on Disney Plus
in a couple of months.
In 3 or 4 months.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think the expense, but here's the other thing. When you're at home with your kids all summer long and all you want is 5 minutes of stop talking to me, sometimes going to the movie is the greatest thing ever. Like, just take them to the movie. They have to sit there and watch the fucking movie, and they won't be bothering you. And you could take a little nap while the kids are at the movie, while you're sitting there if you want. Like, it's worth it. I will just say, sometimes it's worth it because those kids make you fucking crazy. But also, the thing that you aren't thinking about with kids and the summer movies is that a lot of these kids go to the summer movies not with their parents. On the East Coast, summer camp is a huge thing. Every kid I know from like the age of like 6 and up goes to summer camp. And most of these summer camps have at least one, if not two, trips to the movies during the summer as the camp. Like, they'll roll a school bus up, all the kids will get off, they'll all go see the movies. And so there are a few kids movies this summer, but I do think Little Mermaid will be one of the biggest ones that they will go and see.
Sure, I think that's true. And they also have had to make other changes to the Little Mermaid story,
right?
Because even when the Little Mermaid came out in 1988, it was a big hit, but there was a fair amount of pushback that even then that Ariel couldn't read.
Right.
And I get it. She lived under the sea. Books don't do well when you leave them in salt water for long periods of time.
Right.
So when exactly would she have learned to read? I understand that. But also, she's a girl who basically is completely physically transforming herself to make herself available to a man.
Yeah.
And I understand parents being concerned about that as a message to young girls. And so I'll be curious to see
if they've addressed any of those things.
Right. Well, they're certainly going to have to address some of those things for a modern audience. But also, if you're, this is always a tricky thing with a nostalgia play, is because people have warm memories of The Little Mermaid, but they're not thinking necessarily about these elements that were problematic 30 years ago.
Right.
But watching them now, making the movie in this modern era will be more upsetting to viewers than it was then. And there were people who were upset then.
Right.
And so they have to make the change. But then there's going to be, as we have seen with the casting of Ariel, people who are upset about, oh, you're modernizing this too much. Why can't it just be like it was? Like, well, there were parts of it that were not great to begin with. And maybe it needs to be freshened up.
It definitely does.
So I think this is tricky. I think of all of the movies that are coming out this summer, and certainly in Disney's slate, I think this one is the trickiest. But it's frustrating with Disney that they keep remaking or sequelizing their content and cheapening what was good,
right?
By churning out terrible carbon copies of it, and trying to woo younger people. But as they've shown, with Pixar, they do much better at the box office with a Pixar sequel, certainly now, than with a original Pixar story. And Pixar has been the one that I think really is in the biggest trouble post-pandemic because, it is expensive to take kids to a movie. And parents, I think, are going to be choosier about what animated movies they go to.
Yeah.
And with Disney Plus, it's like, well, they'll be able to watch it endlessly once it's on Disney, and I know it's going to be there.
Right.
Versus other movies from other studios where you're not sure what streaming platform it's going to land on, and if it's the one you have, because not every parent has HBO Max, or not every parent has
Right.
Paramount Plus, but they all have Disney.
Right.
And so in a way, Disney's ubiquity is a problem. But like the Super Mario Brothers movie made huge box office. And I assume that a lot of that was families as well as sort of Gen X nostalgia.
Right.
But again, I don't know where Super Mario is going to be streaming later. It's kind of a mystery. So maybe I do need to see it in theaters versus Disney, where I know exactly where their product is going.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. It's it will be interesting. I hope The Little Mermaid does well though, because I would like it to, because I hate all these haters. But,
Well, that's the thing is, I hope it does well.
like I will go
because-
see it for that reason and that reason
Right.
alone.
because of the backlash.
Yes.
So I agree. All right, but a week later, another animated movie is going to be in theaters.
Yes, and I'm
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. This is the sequel to the very successful animated Spider-Man movie that came out. I feel like right before the pandemic.
Yeah, I think so.
2018, 2019.
And I wasn't going to watch that movie, and then you talked so much about how great it was that I eventually broke down and watched it whenever it was streaming somewhere. And I was so impressed by that movie. I actually have this on Movies I Care About list because I would like to see the follow-up, because the first one was so fun and interesting and cool.
Yeah, this is I think that I think there's going to be a huge drop off, no matter how well Little Mermaid does over Memorial Day weekend. I think there's going to be a huge drop off in the second weekend, because I think this movie is going to be huge.
I think so too.
Because Sony has not been putting their Spider-Man movies on Disney Plus, and Sony is an outside studio. So if you want to see this, this content, this you might have to see it in theaters, because it is harder to come by in other platforms.
Yeah. No, I will go see this one in the theater, because also I missed the first one in the theater, and I'm sure that in the theater it was an incredible experience, just based on the animation and the colors they used, and the way they did the animation was so interesting and cool that I don't want to miss that on a big screen this time around.
I agree.
Yeah. So I will go see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It will be fun times.
So that's on Romaine's list.
Yeah, it is on my list. It is. That's my first movie in June that is on my list.
All right. Well, the following weekend, oh God, they're back. Transformers: Rise of the Beast.
No, I don't care about this movie. I'm going to tell you right now, fuck that shit. Absolutely not. Rise of the Beast, Transformers, and animals. No, this is where Transformers gets stupid. This is where they jump the shark, as far as I'm concerned. I'm sure there's a fucking Transformer shark in this movie. No, absolutely no. I'm not. No. I will not go see this movie. This seems stupid. Am I wrong?
No, I'm not looking forward to it either.
Okay.
So I'm with you.
Thank goodness.
And I do wonder how, because the Bumblebee sort of reboot of Transformers didn't do that well. I'm not sure how much gas is left in the Transformers
I'm
tank.
going to say it's empty. The tank is empty. It's
You're
time
burnt.
to walk away.
Well, also, I just think this summer, there's, as we're already seeing, in June already, there is a hot blockbuster opening every single week.
Yeah.
And it is going to be very hard, especially if you have, like, say, if this Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse movie has a really good buzz, gets good reviews, it's going to have a strong second weekend.
Yep.
And that is really going to eat into Transformers.
Absolutely.
And that is a real problem. And again, same thing for Little Mermaid, with a hot blockbuster opening every weekend. If people are not coming that first weekend and you're not getting good buzz, your movie is going to die quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Like poor Ariel without her fins. Okay.
Oh, no.
I know.
Oh, sad.
She just wants to be part of our world.
Sure. Yeah, whatever.
And then the next weekend, it's
Flash.
The Flash.
Now, I mean, obviously, I have concerns because the lead actor is a fucking hot mess of hot messiness, but I do think the movie will be good. It is on my list of movies I care about.
I think The Flash is going to do big business. Despite
I do
the
too.
many controversies around Ezra Miller, of which there are many,
Many.
I think that moviegoers are hungry for a DC movie that is decent.
But is this the one?
I guess we're gonna find out. I think.
I think it could be.
Well, I think if it was bad, they
Would have bailed on
'cause
it.
Warner Brothers has been looking for ways to save money by shelving movies. Remember, they shelved that
Yeah.
the Batgirl movie,
Yeah.
which everyone was shocked that they had a completed movie and they just literally threw it away for the tax write-off. I think if this movie was not good, then they would have just written it off because they would have had every reason
Yeah. Agreed.
to write it off. So my guess is it is actually good because otherwise they would have just tanked it altogether. But we'll see when the reviews come out. But I do think this is a movie that people are excited about. Also, opening the same weekend as sort of adult fare counter programming is the Wes Anderson movie Asteroid City with Scarlett Johansson and Bill Murray, and I'm sure a troupe of out there actors. I hope this is good. I know you don't watch Wes Anderson movies,
I do not.
but I really my favorite of his has been the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Mm.
I love that movie. I
Okay.
love everything about that movie. It is enchanting from start to finish. A hoot and a howl. I love everything about it.
Okay.
And then he made this movie, whatever, a couple of years ago, The French Mistake. I'm sorry, The French Dispatch. It's awful. It was unwatchable to me.
Okay.
And so I just feel like, it either
It's
it
going to
all
be
clicks-
amazing or it's going to be horrible.
Yeah, it either
There's
all
no in
clicks or
between.
it doesn't.
Gotcha.
So I guess we'll see
Which this is.
And I mean, maybe there are other people who liked it. I don't know,
Uh,
but not me.
okay. All right. Well, the following weekend, there is a movie that I'm not sure if I'm excited about or not, but it is on Movies I Care About because I like one of the stars. So it's No Hard Feelings with Jennifer Lawrence in it. And it looks like it's going to be one of these, like, stupid little romance comedy kind of movies of the summer. And I like her. And so I like supporting her. So I might actually go see this movie.
Okay.
This is one where she basically is hired by these parents to, help their son out because he's a loser, and they basically, they want her to like go and make him a man,
So like failure to launch,
kind of,
that kind of a thing.
yeah.
Okay.
So could be interesting. I don't know. We'll see. It could also be horrible, but because sometimes she picks horrible movies. But I'm hoping that it'll be fun.
I think again, the studios are trying to put out some mid-range, star-driven fare.
Yep.
And hoping that audiences will show up. And I think, if somebody like you, who does like going to the movies, but is looking for something other than just a Marvel movie to see,
Right.
I think that good reviews, good word of mouth could really help there.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So we'll see. Well, for 4th of July weekend, the big movie is going to be Harrison Ford's last appearance as Indiana Jones.
Has he said this is 100% his last time?
Yes.
Mm.
I just think he's old.
That says to me he
And-
has to die in the movie.
Well, I mean, I don't know that that's going to happen, but he is quite old. And
Yeah, he is.
one of the things that the Indiana Jones movies has come up against is that the idea of white archaeology is not aging well with our times.
No.
The idea of former colonial powers going to other parts of the world and taking their antiquities back for their museums.
Not great.
No.
Doesn't look good. I
No.
agree.
In a way, Little Mermaid not being able to read is progressive in comparison.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So I think that the combination of Harrison Ford getting older and this kind of archaeology, adventure archaeology, not aging with our times. In a lot of ways, I feel like what we talked about with Queen Elizabeth, that a lot of people had mixed feelings about the monarchy, but Elizabeth had been there a long time in everyone's lifetime,
Right.
and people had warm feelings about her. But once she was gone, people's feelings about that franchise were going to end with her.
Yes.
And I think that a lot of what is keeping this from a total modern backlash is that Harrison Ford is a very likable star that is associated with it. But I
Yeah.
don't think you can introduce a new Indiana Jones the Fifth grandson who now is going to pick up the mantle in our modern era. Like, I don't, it's not.
It's a
not
bummer
going to
though,
do
because
well.
I actually really love these types of movies, right? These they're the national the Nick Cage movies. What are those? National Treasure. Like, I love these types of movies. The idea that there is some mystery civilization or some mystery thing out there that's in plain sight, but we don't know about it. I love the idea of these movies because I love thinking that, there's some lost city somewhere that's just yet to be discovered. That's an exciting concept to me. And so I like those movies, but I agree with what you're saying, and that it is probably, maybe if it wasn't a white guy, I might be okay with it. But you're right. You're right about this.
I mean, I think National Treasure is a little bit different, and I definitely think there's space for that kind of adventure story.
Yeah.
But that's not specifically tied to Indiana Jones, which is we're going to go and find a lost tribe in Peru and steal their golden idol.
Right. Agreed.
I think that to quote Sigourney Weaver's, that ship has sailed.
Yes.
And probably for all the right reasons.
Yes.
But I am excited about this movie, even though Spielberg did not come back in the end to direct. This is the only one he didn't direct.
Oh, wow.
And so I'll be curious to see how good it is or isn't.
Right.
But they've de-aged Harrison Ford for some of the earlier scenes. That looks really good.
Interesting.
And we'll see how it goes. But Harrison Ford himself was impressed by the de-aging.
Okay.
He felt when he saw it in a rough cut that it looked like a scene he had shot that he forgot he shot.
Okay. Well, that's
So if
good.
he was convinced by himself, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
But I also think that, in future filmmaking, it definitely creates more opportunity. Like, let's say you want to have a flashback kind of a story, like The Notebook or something, right?
Right.
In the future, you could have the same actor play the older and younger version of themselves.
Which is kind of cool.
Right. Certainly better than just sort of fully digitally recreating a person.
Right.
I think if they were able to give the whole performance in both parts, in sort of the same way that with the Hulk or She-Hulk, it's them, but they're covered in a digital covering, but it's still them giving their performance. I think that's an effective use of that. But I understand people not wanting their favorite stars to be completely remade by digital animation,
Right.
and no longer be actually them. But I'll be curious to see how this goes. And then I don't watch horror movies. I know you don't really watch a lot of horror movies, but there is another Insidious movie that's coming out after 4th of July weekend, and it's probably going to make $150 million.
Okay. I don't watch those kind of movies. They terrify me. But okay.
Yeah. Now, after a little breathing room from Indiana Jones as our summer movie preview continues, Tom Cruise is back in theaters
I don't care about him.
with Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Because remember, this is the 2-part Mission Impossible movie that he filmed. They were all living on a cruise ship, remember, off of the coast of Norway while they were filming during COVID.
Yeah, I think I do remember this.
But I think Tom Cruise, he stuck to his guns for Top Gun Maverick last year. That paid off handsomely. I think the expectations on this Mission Impossible movie are high.
It's not on my list of movies I care about. I don't care about Tom Cruise. There.
Well,
I've said it.
If it's at all helpful, this is probably the end of this Mission Impossible franchise.
Thank God, because it's been going on too long.
26, 27 years.
Yeah. Too long. Too long for me. That is not the next movie that I care about.
Is it Barbie?
Yes, that is the next movie I care about. This looks like it is going to be the campiest, gayest thing that has ever been made. And frankly, I'm here for it.
I also am really excited about this Barbie movie.
Every gay is excited about this movie.
I am very curious about what everyone else in America is going to think about this Barbie movie. Now, I will say this, that for all sorts of people who are like, ugh, why make a movie out of Barbie? If you didn't roll your eyes about making a Transformer movie or a Super Mario Brothers movie or a G.I. Joe movie, don't
Agreed.
roll your eyes at Barbie. These are all toys. Clue is a board game. I know you love the movie Clue, but get real about the source material here. Barbie's source material is the same as all these other movies
Yep.
that have been embraced by audiences and loved by audiences. And so the backlash at the idea of a Barbie movie is just misogyny. Oh,
Yep.
that's a girl toy. So
Yep.
therefore we can't go to the theaters. But you would never say, oh, well, we can't make a Transformer movie because women won't come to theaters to see it. They
Right.
never say that. Never. So I
Agreed.
say straight men, nut up and go and see the Barbie movie.
Yeah, but also there's like actors in it that straight guys like. So I feel like just go see the fucking movie. I
Like the
definitely think
trailer-
kids are going to go see this movie in droves.
I think the trailer looked really fun.
It does. I think it's one of these kind of movies that's made for kids, but with the jokes that adults will get and will enjoy. Like, I think there's enough in there that adults won't hate this movie going experience.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate. Because you know my kid's going to want to see it.
I hope a lot of people want to go and see it.
Yeah.
And Barbie is a product of a prior era, not unlike The Little Mermaid, that has problematic elements to her.
Yes.
That it seems like this movie is going to play with in a way that I think will make people happy in a nostalgia way,
Mm-hmm.
but also sort of address some of the issues that socially have come along with Barbie along the way. But my hope is that it'll be like the Lego movie.
Yes.
was
I think it's going to be a
su-
lot like the Lego movie.
Which was super fun and super charming
Mhm.
and ended up being a big hit. I hope that audiences embrace the Barbie movie in the same way. And again, a lot of it will depend on how good it is. If the movie is stinkorama, if it's a 12 on Rotten Tomatoes,
Yeah.
then, that's going to be bad. But I'm hoping that it will get good reviews and good word of mouth and people will go and see it.
Yeah, I think they will. I have high hopes for that one. I think people are going to see it. I think it's going to be one of the big movies of the summer, honestly.
It could be. I think it could be because it's coming out at the end of July.
Yep.
So it could be one of these late summer surprises. As the summer movie season goes on, the studios are putting their lower profile fare out there in the hopes that something will be a sleeper-ish kind of a hit. Because
Yep.
every once in a while there will be a movie that comes out in August or September that ends up being one of the bigger movies of the summer. And it's because it's a little bit different and the other movies have sort of run their course, but people are still anxious to get out of the house and get to the theaters. So I think they might be hoping that Barbie, by putting it at the end of July, that they might pick up some of this, August doldrums. Everybody's seen everything else, and this is getting good buzz, so why not get to theaters to see it?
Right.
In the counter-programming space, Christopher Nolan is back with his movie Oppenheimer, which is about Robert Oppenheimer and the development of the atomic bomb.
Oh.
And Emily Blunt is in it. This is Christopher Nolan has gotten people into theaters and he knows how to make an interesting movie. And certainly to take fare like the Dark Knight, he took the Batman and really turned it into sort of elevated filmmaking.
Yep.
Got an original movie like Inception into a buzzy summer hit that was not necessarily a predestined summer hit. Obviously it had whiz-bang special effects and everything else and big stars like Leonardo DiCaprio. But even still, it was a tougher sell as a new concept of a movie, but it ended up doing very well. So we'll see how if audiences want to show up for a movie about the invention of the atomic bomb.
Yeah, I guess we'll see. It's not on my list.
I think it's going to be a tough. I think it's going to be a tough sell. But again, as we've talked about, there are going to be moviegoers who want an alternative to
Yeah, you're right.
popcorn fare,
Sure.
and horror movies, and
I just don't know
might
that I
be-
want to see something about something that could potentially end the world, considering where we're at in life right now. I feel like the world is ending every fucking day, and I don't know that I can be depressed about it more. You know what I mean?
Okay.
That's me personally.
All right. Well, another movie I'm not looking forward to is A Haunted Mansion.
Yeah, this one worries me too. I agree. It's not on my list because I'm not sure it's going to be any good. In fact, I think it's going to be bad.
It's frustrating. That last Haunted Mansion movie was terrible. The Muppet Haunted Mansion special on Disney Plus was great.
It was.
And, they could have just made a Muppets Return to the Haunted Mansion feature, frankly. They're putting this out in July, at the end of July, clearly because they're going to dump it on Disney Plus in October.
Yep.
And I think audiences are going to be wise to that. And if the reviews are anything other than Oscar worthy, I think it's going to be a full dud at the box office. But
I agree.
Disney may not care.
Well, why should they?
They need something in the marketplace.
Right.
And if it makes some money, it's better than making $0, which is what would happen if it just went direct to Disney Plus. But
Right.
it just feels like a cheap Disney cash grab. Now, the following weekend, I know, has a movie that Romaine is excited about.
What movie is that?
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
You'd be surprised. Not so much.
What?
Yeah, I am an originalist when it comes to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't always love what they come out with and what they have come out with over the years. Now, there have been some, I'm going to call them reboots of the Turtles that have been okay, but for the most part, I hate them. I love the originals and the originals only. I know, I'm a weirdo. I love the Turtles. I love them so much. They're some of my favorite characters ever, but yeah, I feel like sometimes they really fuck them up. I know. I'm disappointing you, but it's true. So,
I mean, I'm
we'll
not
see.
that disappointed. And, I guess we'll see how it goes.
It's hit or miss with the Turtles. That's what I have found over the years. It's hit or miss, and a lot of times it's miss for me.
But this is where the month of August is sort of a bit of a late summer dumping ground.
Yep.
And we'll see, again, if it's a good movie and people have seen everything else, it gets good reviews.
Right.
It might actually get people in theaters. And
Right.
if it's fun and has good word of mouth, more people might go and see it. It's going up against a sequel to the Meg, the Megalodon shark movie
Oh yeah.
from a few years ago that, again, feels like a late summer dump of, well, I guess if it's really hot and people want to get into air conditioning and they want to see a giant shark menacing people on the screen.
Who doesn't love that? Me. I hate that.
The first Meg movie was the most generic action movie. Just okay. It was just okay. But it was a thing of, well, on the big screen and people are running and they're underwater and the shark is trying to eat them. Okay.
I guess.
I think if we're really desperate to go to the theaters, we'll go to see it. But it's not high on my list of must-sees.
Agreed.
Well, we hope you have enjoyed our summer movie preview.
Yes.
Talking
so much
about
good stuff.
Yeah, some of the movies that will be coming out this summer. And there's even more stuff. So, check your local listings, as
Yes.
we used to say. But
Yes, indeed.
we'll be out and about there and also live on the radio all summer long.
Yes, we
except for when
will.
we're on that Alaska cruise. But otherwise, we'll be around. So join us again.
Can't get enough of the show? Follow them on Twitter at DNR Show or like them on Facebook.
And don't forget to tell your friends to subscribe to DNR 2.0 at DerekandRomaine.com.